Jacksonville Jaguars fans, welcome into Duval Daily presented by GenJag.com. I'm Jordan DeLugo. Thanks so much for being here Wednesday, November 19th. We are finally back in the home studio. As you can see, fired up to be back home. Did have a wonderful trip, but getting the content out, not as easy when you're on the road as it is at home. So excited to get into this show today. Strengths and weaknesses for your Jacksonville Jaguars. The Jags have played 10 games now. They're 6-4. They're in 7th place in the AFC. They're in 2nd place in the AFC South. Everything is in front of them. They control their own destiny. We're a little bit past the halfway point of the season, but I wanted to do strengths and weaknesses at this point, where they're at. And we actually have 3 categories here. We have clear strengths, clear weaknesses, and things that can be very good, but they're inconsistent. Like the pieces are in place for these things to be very good, but you haven't seen enough consistency to say that they are confirmed very good. So we're going to dive into that today. Really appreciate y'all being here, supporting the channel. It means the world to me. If you enjoy the content, please like and subscribe. You can also check out GenJag.com, pick up some new Duval gear. We've got one of these little guys in every order for you, a little holographic Jag sticker. Love those. So again, GenJag.com. And strengths and weaknesses. Straight away, let's get into it. Strengths, we will start with the good stuff. Stopping the run. They're allowing 86 yards per game on the ground, 4.0 yards per carry. And that 4.0 yards per carry stat is skewed by quarterback runs against opposing running backs and receivers, designed runs. The Jaguars are really much better in that department. I think they're closer to that 3.6 yards per carry mark, but only allowing 86 yards per game on the ground. Teams realize it is just really difficult to get your run game, your traditional run game going. Whether you are inside the tackles, you've got Devon Hamilton and those edges coming down and crashing hard and setting a really hard edge. You're trying to get outside Foye and Devin and Dennis Gardeck and even the edge guys and the corners. They play tough, physical. So it's difficult to run the ball consistently against the Jaguars. The only team as of late that's really done that at a high level, and it was kind of fluky just based on what was going on in the game, was the Texans. The Jaguars defense got gassed late in that game. They started giving up a lot. Before that, they hadn't given up a whole lot in that game. They had done a decent job prior to the last 16 minutes of that football game when the entire team imploded, right? But the Chargers, they came in, they wanted to run the ball, couldn't do it. They wanted to pass the ball, couldn't do it. So kudos to the Jaguars defense for getting the job done. But to me, they have been consistent at stopping the run against a lot of different types of run schemes. So that is an area the Jaguars can hang their hat on right now. Teams are not going to be perfect throughout a year. Like, you have had some moments, again, against the Texans late in that game, against the Chiefs, where teams ran the ball a little bit on you, right? But overall, when you look at a 10-game sample size, the Jaguars' run defense has been excellent. So yeah, that's a strength. Guess what? On the other side of the ball, running the ball is a strength for the Jaguars as well. I don't think it's been quite as dominant as the defensive side for the Jaguars running the ball, but you look at overall, they've been one of the more consistent run teams in the league this year. They're averaging almost 130 yards on the ground, and when they get it going, they really get it going. They have had some monster performances on the ground this year. And they've got 3 really good running backs. They've got a offensive line who, in my opinion, is doing a very good job of run blocking most weeks. Not perfect, but very good. And they've gone against some very good defensive fronts as well. I think running the ball is a clear strength of the Jaguars. Now, they have to commit to it, and they really did against the Chargers, and they really have at times throughout this year. But they haven't committed every single game. There's been games where it's like, probably should have been calling a few more run plays, getting the ball in Travis Etienne's hands, who is having a career year. Bashal Tutin, who is really coming on. And even LeQuint Allen, right, who is a tough, physical runner, gives it all every time he's on the field, whether he's in pass protection, special teams, whatever it may be. He probably deserves to get the ball a little bit more just to get rewarded for how hard he's playing on all those other plays where you don't necessarily get the accolades or the stats. He's a special and important player. And then you look at the offensive line. I think in the run game, You look at some of these guys, clearly Robert Hainsey and Ezra Cleveland are excellent run blockers. I think Patrick McCary is a pretty good run blocker. Anton Harrison has developed into a good run blocker. You've seen flashes from Walker Little. You've seen, you know, a lot of good in the run blocking department from Brenton Strange, some of the other tight ends. Some of the receivers are doing a good job in that regard as well. But overall, I just think you look at this group as a very good run blocking group in Jacksonville. And part of that, a lot of that, just is Liam Cohen's coaching of the run game. He has gone from the Rams, gone back to the college game with Kentucky Wildcats, the Buccaneers, the Jaguars, different personnel, different types of strengths and weaknesses of a run game. And he's been able to mold the run game to all these different places. And he wasn't the run game coordinator with the Rams, right? But he had a hand to play in the offensive game plan and design with the Rams as their offensive coordinator. But Kentucky in 23, Tampa 24, Jacksonville 25. He's running the ball. He's doing a really good job with it. It's he can mold his run game to what the team's strengths and weaknesses are. And you see that develop over the course of a season as you really kind of figure things out a little bit more. So again, run game on both sides of the ball, that's something you can be excited about. And if you can run the ball, it sets you up in more manageable situations. If you can run the ball very effectively, it sets you up in really good situations. If you can stop the run, it puts the offense in not so manageable situations. Now, you have to execute on the other phases of offense and defense as well, but stopping the run and running the ball, they're doing a good job there. Other than that, true strengths right now that they have displayed, I would say resilience and toughness. That's about it. True strengths. You're a damn good run team. I think you could maybe say special teams is becoming that, but there's been, for a long stretch of the season, there was field goal issues. There's been punt issues. There's been coverage issues. You love that Cam Little is a weapon. You love that Parker Washington is a weapon. You love that Logan Cook can be a weapon. But there's been a lot of inconsistencies. I think it's heading in the right direction for sure, but to say it's a 100% strength right now, I think is probably a little bit too bullish. I would say it's in the can be very good, has been very good, but has been inconsistent category. But resilience and toughness to me has been excellent. Outside of one game where it looked like the resilience and toughness completely left the entire team against the Houston Texans, the Jaguars have been very resilient, you know? To me, even in that game against the Texans, they had an opportunity to win that. I mean, Jarian Jones made a great play down the field. Got called for a penalty. You could say the same thing against the Bengals. But what has happened when they've had some of these rough moments? They've bounced back. They have bounced back for the most part. I think that they're a tough and resilient football team. And toughness is like mental toughness, but also they hit you. You feel when you play the Jaguars, both offense and defense, right? This offensive line brings it. Lee Quint Allen brings it. You've now got Brenton Strange maybe coming back this week. Hopefully he practiced last week. Hopefully you can get him back out on the field this week. That would be huge. He is tough. These guys that they have brought in bring a toughness. And some of the guys that were already here, you know, Trayvon Walker, Josh Hines-Allen, Foye, Devin, they hit. Buster Brown's tough. He'll hit you too. So I think that toughness, mentally and physically, and resilience have shown themselves to be strengths, not just of the team, but of the coaching staff. When they get punched in the mouth, they usually come back out and figure it out. Now, the largest category here is can be very good, but is inconsistent right now. Forcing turnovers. They have 18 turnovers forced, but a lot of those came very early in the season. They have been doing a little bit better job as of late, and I would like to see, honestly, I would, fourth down stops considered turnovers. To me, they should be. I don't know why they're not. And the Jaguars have been doing a good job on fourth down over the last 3-4 weeks, which is very good to see. And they've also been forcing some turnovers. They have been. You've seen them being a little bit more opportunistic than, the stretch from Seattle, LA. That was just really tough games to win. Bottom line, they just were. But I think that you're starting to see them play a little bit easier of a schedule. You're starting to see them play a little bit more. I mean, look, the Rams and Seahawks are Super Bowl contenders on the NFC side. It squarely feels like that. I would put the Rams ahead of the Seahawks personally. I would. Why? Why would I do that? Quarterback play. Quarterback play, straight up. I don't think Sam Darnold's a Super Bowl quarterback. I think you're going to get these games where, 4 interceptions, 5 interceptions, whatever it may be. So back to the Jaguars, though. I think that, forcing turnovers, being aggressive, being opportunistic, that can be a strength. A lot goes into forcing turnovers and being opportunistic, but overall, they have the recipe to be able to be that type of team. It just has been very inconsistent. And that goes into some of the inconsistencies of the defense as a whole, which we can talk about here. Ability to pressure the quarterback. And this is a whole big thing too, the ability to pressure the quarterback, to make things difficult on the quarterback, has been inconsistent. The pieces are in place. You have Josh Hines-Allen, Trayvon Walker, Eric Armstead. Your young guys, BJ Green and Danny Strigow, start to ball out. You have talent on the second level of the defense as well. And then I think you have cornerbacks who can do a good enough job to allow you to pressure the quarterback. But you can't play passive in pass coverage. We've talked about that. You cannot be consistently lined up your entire defense 8 yards off the ball. You also, if you do have a, whatever defense they're in, probably their most extensive coverage look is like cover 6, quarter, half. And that scheme, you're going to have one of your corners on the one side of the field off the ball. When you have that, you can play more fundamentally sound football at all spots to kind of negate the quarterback going in that direction. And you can, as Liam Cohen said, play stickier and more patient to not bail out, to not remove yourself from the ability to make a play on the ball as a corner. So a lot of things go into the ability to pressure the quarterback, but that's been an inconsistency so far, in my opinion. Can be very good. Absolutely. Can be very good. Haven't talked about the offensive passing game yet, have we? Another one. Inconsistent, but can be very good. Really, it seems like for like 3 quarters, 85% of the drives, Trevor Lawrence, the offense, do a good job. The other, you have ill-advised throws, poorly placed throws, penalties, drops, misalignment, all the things that plague the offense. So, and specifically the passing game. So they've got to try to find more consistency. Trevor Lawrence came out last week and started the game pretty damn poor. Finished the game looking like, the quarterback who deserves all the praise in the world. Started out pretty poor. Can you find a little bit more consistency? And look, there's not a lot of consistent quarterback play across the league. I think a lot of teams right now, if you're evaluating them, you would put the passing game in the can be very good, but is inconsistent category. NFL's tough. It is a tough league. It is a league of parity. It is a league of talent, of great coaching. Not all the way around on the great coaching part, but there's a lot of great coaches on both sides of the ball in this league. There's a lot of great players on both sides of the ball in this league, and you want to find more consistency. But context is required. Not a lot of passing games are finding a lot of consistency right now. Yes, there are examples of very consistent passing games, but there's not a lot of them, right? So offensive passing game does need to improve, but you can say that about most of the league. Individual game plan for a specific game on a specific side of the ball, I definitely think can be very good. We have seen it be very good, but inconsistent. I think that, what Camp did to the Chargers, unbelievable, but they weren't a team that really did a lot of short, quick game stuff consistently. But they did a better job against that when they did try it. You on the reverse side of that coin, when teams are willing to just get the ball out in 1.5 to 2.25 seconds, right at the line of scrimmage, the Jaguars have struggled with that a little bit when they're doing that over and over and over. You've also seen, the defense get completely fooled by the Rams coming out in a ton of 13 personnel. And the week before that, the Seahawks really had their number doing that. So, individual game plan, there's been strengths and weaknesses. Can be very good, has been inconsistent. On the offensive side of the ball, you can say the same thing. With the Texans in week 3, whatever that was, the offense was not prepared for that bare front, and it really kind of did a number on them early in that game. They ended up winning the game, which is great, and recovering a little bit. But they weren't ready for that look. It was unscouted, and it got them a bit. So individual game plan, in my opinion, more good than bad, for sure. I think the coaching in general, a lot more good than bad, but you have seen rookie mistakes from this coaching staff. I think you absolutely have. So it is, again, can be very good and consistent. Now, weaknesses, don't have a ton of weaknesses, straight up weaknesses, but we do have some to talk about here. And one of them is consistency. The Jaguars this year have been consistently inconsistent. Hate to say it, but it's true. They have been consistently inconsistent, and that is in controlling the controllables, as Liam Cohen puts it. The Jaguars have not consistently just done their job, executed their assignment, and controlled what's controllable, which is pre-snap, fundamentals, discipline, your technical, whether it's an offensive lineman and getting out in the correct stance, right? Getting out of your stance properly, getting your hands up, hand placement, pre-snap, obviously. Wide receivers, executing at the correct depth of the route. Different things like that. Controlling the controllables. They have not done a good enough job of that. That has been a weakness. Hopefully you see it improving, and you saw it improving against the Chargers, but overall, one game sample size, you could say, they controlled the controllables really well against the Chargers. They also did that really well, in my opinion, against the Chiefs, but that's 2 games out of 10. Got to do a little bit more consistently than that. I think that safety play can be a weakness for sure. I think it has been. I think if Eric Murray's out there, you're in a lot better spot, and there's potential for him to come back soon, but we really just don't know where that's at. You hope you can get him back. Dewey Wingard is limited physically. Antonio Johnson is also limited. Maybe not physically, but just like experience, knowing what he's supposed to be doing, when he's supposed to be doing it, where he's supposed to be, having that like dialed in mental side of it. Eric Murray is their best safety right now, and they're missing him, in my opinion. They didn't miss him against the Chargers, but that's, again, one game where I think the Jaguars just came out and smacked them. The Chargers were not ready for that football game, not ready against the Jaguars and the intensity that they were bringing. But yeah, I'm worried about safety play for sure. Definitely until we see what's happening with Eric Murray here soon. I think left tackle and right guard are weaknesses. Look, you can look at Walker Little and say, has he had decent games? Has he had good games? Yes, he has. He's had some very good games overall. He's also against good, really good, like playoff, divisional round, AFC Championship, Super Bowl pass rushers. he has been burnt toast. And he did respond against the Chargers. So credit to him for being better in all facets against the Chargers. But against the Texans twice this year, he's been a complete liability. Against the Bengals, Trey Hendrickson, complete liability. Against the Seahawks and Rams, not very good. Against, the Raiders, when they got the matchups on him that they wanted, not very good overall. To me, he's been a weakness. And PFF will tell you, oh, well, he's been okay. I think if you watch, like his PFF graded 65 run blocking, 65 pass blocking. I don't think that that's accurate at all, because I think the lows have been so low that they have been game wrecking. So that's a weakness. I think right guard's a weakness. McCary, again, he's had some good games, had some bad games. You've had some injury issues there. He hasn't been, fully out there consistently. But the biggest issue is really the penalties. I mean, he hasn't been penalized in a few weeks, which is great. And maybe you're working that out. Maybe being in the new offense, you're getting it together a little bit more. But, he had a 3 penalty game. In 3 of the first 4 games, he had penalties. And there's just some inconsistency there. I do think he legitimately should be that ace in the hole, that, 5-tool offensive lineman, 5-position offensive lineman backup for you. But I think that, left tackle and right guard, I don't think you can sit here and say are strengths. I guess you could say they can be good. I lean more towards their weaknesses. Quick game pass defense, good this past week. Overall, been very bad. Hopefully they figured something out. Hopefully they, can maintain that level of intensity and play, right? But that's yet to be determined. Overall, Jags in a good spot. 6-4, control their own destiny, coming off a big win. Let's see if they can maintain. Really appreciate y'all being here. If you enjoy the content, please like and subscribe, and y'all have a good one.